This is the part 2 of the .NET Core interview questions. In this part, we will discuss some basics about .NET Core, or you can say overview of definition of .NET Core. Here are the questions we will learn in this part. What is .NET Core? What is .NET Standard? What are the advantages of .NET Core over .NET Framework? Let's start with the first question. What is .NET Core? Here we will see the definition. .NET Core is completely a new framework, which is a free and open source platform developed and maintained by Microsoft. So you have to remember that .NET Core is a open source platform, which means companies do not have to pay or purchase its license. Unlike earlier, where .NET Framework was not free and there was a license fees. Now let's see the diagram of here. Here you can see .NET Framework and .NET Core are two different frameworks. They are completely two different frameworks. They might have some similarities in their working, but they are not same. For example, if in your system or machine you have .NET Framework installed, then in order to run a .NET Core based application, you have to also install the .NET Core framework separately. Then only .NET Framework Core framework will application will work. Otherwise, it will not work. Mono for Xamarin is also a different framework. It is used for developing mobile applications. All these frameworks share some common standard libraries which we call as .NET standard libraries, which will be the next question. What is .NET standard? The first thing about .NET standard is it is not a framework. .NET standard defines a set of APIs, or you can say libraries or set of rules, but it's not a framework. Right now in the diagram again, you can see the .NET Framework, .NET Core and Mono for Xamarin are all following this .NET standard rules. Therefore, we can say all these frameworks are .NET standard compliant. So that is just the definition of .NET standard. Now let's go to the next question. What are the advantages of .NET Core over .NET Framework? This is a very important question from interview perspective. Someone can also ask this question, what is the difference between .NET Core and .NET Framework? But the answer is same. So let's see the advantages one by one. First advantage is .NET Core is cross-platform, which means it can run in multiple operating systems like Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. But .NET Framework only supports Windows. It cannot run in Linux and Mac OS operating system. So that is the first advantage of .NET Core. Second advantage is it is completely open source, which means it is free to use, modifiable, and distributable. Whereas .NET Framework is not free to use and it is a paid framework. So this is the second advantage. Another advantage of .NET Core is hosting. It can be hosted in multiple servers like Kestrel, IIS, and Nginx. But .NET Framework only supports IIS hosting. We will discuss in detail in further questions about the Kestrel, and the Nginx is basically a Node.js based hosting server. Next advantage of .NET Core is built-in dependency injection. It's a very important advantage of .NET Core. If you are new to dependency injection and loosely coupled design, then you have already watched my video on dependency injection, where we have used the configure services method inside the startup class to set up the dependency injection for .NET Core. .NET Framework do not have any built-in dependency injection. You can set up it, it's slightly complex, it is possible, but it is not built in, and so therefore it is not that simple to execute in .NET Framework. Then the last advantage of .NET Core is it supports to multiple IDEs. It can support multiple IDE like Visual Studio for Mac, Visual Studio Code, and uh, other IDEs also are supported by .NET Core. Whereas .NET Framework only supports Visual Studio IDE. In short, I will say with the combination of .NET Core and VS Code, the complete package is free for all. Remember, .NET Core is the future of .NET Framework. Now in the next part, we will see some more questions on .NET Core which are equally important.